Tomorrow, July 21st, is Zapdos Day. Zapdos Day is a community day-like event in the sense that it lasts 3 hours, and it's during the community day event period hours. For me, that's 1 p.m. Central Time to 4 p.m. Central Time. For you, well, link in the description to the official announcement so you can figure it out there. I don't know what all the times are for all you guys. But yeah, so it's a special event. You can get a shiny Zapdos, and another pull factor for this event is that Zapdos will know the fast move, Thunder Shock. If you're not familiar, Zapdos has always lived in Raikou shadow. 2 reasons why it's lived in its shadow is because it has Charge Beam, which is a worse fast move than Thunder Shock. Another reason why is because it doesn't have Wild Charge, which is indisputably the greatest electric type charge move in the game. In this video, I got some numbers for you showing just how good this Thunder Shock Zapdos is, and I'll also be going over the best counters to Zapdos to help you duo, trio, quad, just beat down those Zapdoses as best as possible. I also go kind of in-depth in a unique topic that covers DPS versus TDO. Basically, which counters are better, the high DPS, really fast kind of Pokemon, or the more tanky, slow and steady type of Pokemon. It's a brief sort of foray into the topic, so don't worry, I'm not going to be going too deep here today. To start out, we got some data here from the comprehensive DPS TDO spreadsheet on GamePress. Basically, it's like Cycle DPS, but it considers faint time and damage that you get that turns into energy to accelerate your charge moves. It's basically comprehensive Cycle DPS, right? If you want more information on it, link in the description to the spreadsheet. But yeah, so going over the spreadsheet there, you can see down here that Thunder Shock with Thunderbolt does not allow Zapdos to surpass Raikou in terms of DPS or TDO. Above, you can see that the winning ticket is truly Wild Charge, which Zapdos doesn't learn. So, to this day, Wild Charge Raikou is still going to be the better electric type. Fortunately, there's no real use for electric type Pokemon in the current meta, so you can save your Stardust and rare candies anyways and not power either of them up until the day comes. And when the day comes that you need an electric type to battle water types with, I imagine you'll be powering up the best one you have, right? But yeah, just wanted to establish that Zapdos here with the Thunder Shock does not surpass the Raikou. Now let's get into the counters. So this is a graph showing Zapdos' best counters. This is using Thunder Shock and all of its different charge moves averaged, using level 40 counters, unless stated otherwise, in a raid with no dodging and Great Friendship. I use Great Friendship because I feel like that's sort of a reasonable level to assume most people will be at with their friends. So the best counters for the Zapdos fight are going to be that Smackdown Stone Edge Tyranitar. Understandably, that's a community day move, you might not have it. After Tyranitar, I feel your best option will be Golem. You'll want to have the Rock Throw with the Stone Edge on your Golem, but having Ancient Power or Rock Blast are both acceptable options. I also show a variety of options in this fight, such as Jinx and Rayquaza. Piloswine's also pretty good, and Groudon is extra tanky. But overall, if you've got Golems at level 31 or higher, or Smackdown Tyranitars at level 30 or higher, those are going to be your best options for this fight. One thing I want to highlight with Groudon here is even with the Dragon Tail moveset, really won't be performing until it gets above level 39. So powering up Groudon specifically for the Zapdos fight is a pretty steep investment, and I don't really advise it. I have Rhydon down here with Mudslap and Stone Edge, kind of to serve as a reference of a relatively poor pick. Yeah, all these lower options below the 15 cutoff line here might not exactly be worth your Stardust to invest in for this fight. Another thing I kind of want to throw out for you guys is it's around 14 to 15 DPS, that's the cutoff line for the trio. So if you have 3 friends and you're using level 31 Golems, or perhaps level 30 Smackdown Tyranitars, or anything above 15 DPS on here, you should be able to get the trio in pretty well. To get your maximum amount of damage balls, you want to deal 20% damage to the raid boss. So if you've got 4 or 5 friends that you're going with, okay, 5 including yourself, 4 including yourself, then you should be getting your maximum amount of damage balls anyways. Or you could just squad up with 20 people and just slam each and every Zapdos you come across until you get that shiny, which I imagine a lot of people will be doing. But if you're in it for every single Zapdos you can find, I say going in with 4 friends, so 5 people total, is probably the most ideal way to do it. Now if you're wondering, roughly 21 is the cutoff for the duo, and that you really won't be able to achieve until you have a cloudy weather bonus. So this is a more focused graph. I cut off basically the weaker options, right? Just highlighting that a partly cloudy weather bonus, Smackdown Tyranitar, and Golem will be your best options for doing a duo if you're into that kind of challenge. Level 33 is a good cutoff point for Smackdown Tyranitars, and level 30 is a decent cutoff point for the Golems. Now, while you can do the duo with nothing but Golems, you'll want to be much more higher than level 30. And you can do the duo with the Smackdown Tyranitars, but you may have to re-lobby. What I'm basically getting at here is using like 4 Smackdown Tyranitars with 2 Golems might be your best route for, tankiness and DPS. The high DPS of the Tyranitars will pull up the lower DPS of the Golems, and the higher total damage output, which translates into tankiness of the Golems, will allow you to avoid re-lobbying, or will better allow you to avoid re-lobbying with your Tyranitars. Overall, kind of nitpicky, but a combination of Tyranitars and Golems will be your best bet in partly cloudy weather to achieve the duo. To give more credence to the blending of Tyranitar and Golem, I made a damage per second graph that also goes over time in seconds. Basically, a lot of people have this misconception that DPS is a constant, like my 20 DPS Pokemon's always dealing 20 DPS. But that's not exactly the case. DPS is always fluctuating based on your attacks. When you use a charge attack, you get a spike in your DPS. And when you feint out, you get a small drag on your DPS that's kind of hard to measure. Another thing that weighs down on your DPS is having to re-lobby. So on this graph, the green line shows a party of 6 Tyranitars against a tier 4 Zapdos raid that's using Thundershock and Thunderbolt with no dodging. You can see that around the 132nd line, the Tyranitar team feints out and you have to re-lobby. For the purposes of this graph, I made the re-lobbying time a modest 15 seconds. For many people, it takes a bit longer than that. For the Ultra Pros, it only takes about 10 seconds. So I went with 15 as sort of a happy middle zone, right? The orange line here, kind of yellow looking, is 6 Golems. Now, in this Tier 4 Zapdos raid, a team of 6 Golems, if powered up to a reasonable level, like 30 or higher, they will not feint out from this fight. They will time out before they feint out, and their damage is certainly respectable. And if you just have a team of them, if the fight persists over 140 seconds, then you'll basically be on the level of a 6 Tyranitar team because they have feinted out. As I said earlier, a blend of the 2 styles may be the best route to go if you want to fully optimize your Zapdos beatdown squad. As you can tell, the 2 Tyranitar 4 Golem team has that initial spike DPS. If the fight persists longer than about 75-80 seconds, then your DPS will be a bit lower than the pure Tyranitar squad, but it'll be better than the full Golem squad. And then, once again, if the fight persists over like 145 seconds, then the 2 Tyranitar 4 Golem team will be the victor overall, basically tying with the 6 Tyranitar team at the very end of the fight if they re-lobby. But realistically, you should have beaten the raid by then. So, yeah, just kind of substantiating the differences between DPS and TDO. Just letting you know that DPS is fluctuating and isn't always perfectly reliable. Things can get in the way of DPS. As far as TDO goes, it's pretty reliable, reflects your tankiness. The less time you spend feinting and trying to switch back in a new party, the better off you'll probably be in the raid. So, just kind of highlighting that here. I plan on doing some more research on DPS versus TDO in the future. I imagine one thing that you guys are thinking about right now are like, oh, Ryan Swag, if I use the high DPS Pokemon, then I might be able to secure some extra damage balls in the raid. And honestly, that kind of strategy really comes down to who your raid mates are. If they're extremely weak and they're just using like mud slap golems all over the place or something ridiculous like that, then your chances of getting extra damage balls from using high DPS Pokemon definitely increases. But if there's enough competent members in your raid group then you're all competing with each other for those damage wall bonuses to the point where it basically becomes unreasonable to try to get the 3 balls. For that reason, if you really do want to maximize your bonuses in these Zapdos' raid, the 4-man and the 3-man aren't that difficult. If you got 3 powerful friends, maybe 4 if you want to kind of risk it a little bit, because, you know, 20% kind of shaky with 5, right? Then that'll be your best way to maximize your damage ball bonuses. If you're going into random raids alone and you're expecting your high DPS Pokemon to beat out all the normies there, then you might be setting yourself up for some failed raids if the group DPS is too low, and you might also be setting yourself up to not get these bonuses if the group DPS is too high. So more research on that in the future. Just wanted to establish to you guys that Golem and Tyranitar are the best counters to this fight. Doing the trio, doing the quad, pretty dang easy. And Thundershock Zapdos, pretty dang cool. I hope I get the shiny. I'm going to be at KitsuneCon, so going to be raiding with some random instincts I know from there. It's going to be a blast. And yeah, if you like this kind of mathematical, graphical content, and you want to see stuff like this for other raid bosses, well then make sure to subscribe to the Swagman. This is something I do quite regularly. And yeah, if you got any questions on this content, then comment below, let me know. I kind of ran through this video extremely quickly because I am super busy today, so sorry if I left some stones unturned. Oh yeah, and I got a little bonus graph for you guys you might be interested in. So on this graph here, I plotted out 3 Gen 4 Pokemon that we may see in the future. Right now, we've got no confirmation on when Gen 4 is going to drop, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come in the fall. And something in my gut tells me the Eevee Community Day is going to bring Glaceon and Leafeon to the fray. So yeah, we got Glaceon and Weavile here, and as I mentioned in a previous video, both of them are like kind of a upgrade to the Jinx. They're still kind of glass cannony, but their damage output is definitely more respectable. And as I also mentioned in my Gen 4 predictive kind of content video, link in the description if you want to check it out, the Mamoswine is going to be the undisputed king of Ice-type Pokemon, finally giving some honor to the Ice-type house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, look at this. Look at this nonsense. So, to clarify, this is a Golem with a partly cloudy weather bonus. Partly cloudy weather bonus, right? This is a Ice Shard Avalanche Mamoswine. Same moveset as its baby form Piloswine right there. Same moveset, no weather bonus. As powerful as that boosted Golem is. As tanky as that boosted Golem is. Actually, it's got more DPS than that boosted Golem. So yeah, watch out future. Mamoswine is coming. If that's any indication, don't power up any weak ice types that you have now because they're going to be completely thrown out of relevancy once Mamoswine hits the arena. Unless Niantic does something really weird and gives it no ice type attacks, just completely boozes on its move pool. I mean, we've seen it happen. It happened to Metagross, so prayers that Niantic gives Mamoswine a good moveset, because this is finally Ice-type's chance to be good. Alright, so that's all I got for content today. Once again, if you got any questions, comment below. I'm actually going to be kind of drunk tonight. SwagTips. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering about those graphs, there'll be a link in the description that has an album full of these graphs. The not level 40 Pokemon, like level 30, level 31, that indicates breakpoints. If you want to know the breakpoints of your specific Pokemon, I got a breakpoint calculator in the description. If you don't know what breakpoints are, got a breakpoint guide in the description. Have at it, guys.